Welcome to another live streaming class. If this is your first time with us, let me explain how it works. Today, our topic is reading tips or reading skills in English. If you have a question during the class, write your question in the comment section and I'll answer it at the end of the class. So, reading tips, why did I choose this topic today? Because many students ask, if I'm learning English, what do you recommend reading? Something that's not too difficult, how can I improve my reading skills? So first, we're going to talk about some vocabulary related to reading. Then I'm going to give you some tips to improve your reading skills and some specific recommendations on what books to read if you are learning English. So let's get started with some reading vocabulary. First, the author or writer is the person who wrote the book. Sometimes the book is written by a ghost writer, which is a person who is hired to write content, but the credit is given to another person. Okay, a bestseller is a book that is very, very popular, that has sold millions of copies, for example. A quotation is a line or a passage from a book, something that's very memorable that you want to remember from the book. A bookworm is a term we use to call someone who loves reading. So if you like reading a lot, your friends might call you a bookworm. To skim is to read very quickly just to get the main idea. So you don't focus on the details, you just read a page or a paragraph and try to just understand the general meaning of what it says. Alright, now let's look at some different book genres. So a genre is a kind of book. So some of the most popular book genres are science fiction, satire, drama, action or adventure, romance, mystery, horror, or self-help. These are just some examples. There are many more genres and subgenres, smaller genres, but these are the most common. Okay, let's look at the different parts of a book. So the outer part of a book is called the cover. The spine is this part here that holds the book together. A book is made up of many pages, and the pages are divided into chapters, normally. You'll probably find an author bio or biography, which is a short description about the author, about their life, where they're from, what other books they have written, etc. The blurb is the part in the front cover of the book that's just a short summary of what the book is about. So if you're not sure if you want to read the book, if it might be interesting for you, you can read the blurb and then decide. Most books feature a dedication page where the author dedicates the book to someone, family, or a friend, and the acknowledgments where the author thanks the people who helped him or her to write the book, to publish the book, edit the book, etc. Okay, now let's look at my tips for reading in English. First, I recommend that you read something that interests you. If you choose a topic or a genre that you don't enjoy, it's going to make reading even more difficult and you'll probably not finish the book. So, if you like science fiction, read something in science fiction. If you like history, read something about history. This will make it more enjoyable to read and you will learn lots of good vocabulary along the way. Okay? Read a little every day. If you're learning a language, the best way to improve is to make it a part of your daily routine. So the same goes for reading. Read a little every day, even if it's just a few pages, a chapter, or a paragraph, to keep a good rhythm and keep practicing and improving. Okay? Keep keep a notebook of new vocabulary. So as you're reading, keep a notebook and write down new vocabulary words and then look up their definitions. And when you're finished with the book, you'll have a whole new set of vocabulary words that you've learned. Okay, read just below your level. By this, I mean don't try to read something that is too complicated for you. Sometimes it's best to maybe read the first page, read a couple of pages, and if you feel like you have to look up every other word in the dictionary, it's probably too difficult for you. So try to choose something that maybe has some new words, but is going to be enjoyable as well, that you're going to understand. Okay, read out loud to practice your pronunciation. So if you're home alone reading, take one paragraph and try to read it out loud and practice your pronunciation. And make a note of words that you have trouble pronouncing, and then try to look up their pronunciation or ask someone later. Okay? Make a timeline or chart of the book for clarity. So this means if you're reading a book that has many characters or that takes place over different periods of time, sometimes it's helpful to make a drawing, to draw a timeline, or to make a chart with the characters' names. That way you don't get confused and you can keep track of what is going on. So this helps to, if you put the book down for a few days, you come back to it, you know who's who and what's going on. Okay? Visit the foreign language section at your local library. So most libraries should have an English section. So you can go ask your librarian, where can I find the books in English, and choose a book to read in English from your local library. Okay, I also recommend creating a profile on Goodreads. So Goodreads is a website, a network for sharing books. So you create a profile and you can post what book you're reading, and based on the books that you read, the system will recommend other books for you that are similar. So if you like science fiction, it will recommend other science fiction books for you. You can also share with your friends what books you're reading. You can rate books if you like them. If you didn't like them, you can write a review. So it's a really useful tool to keep track of books that you want to read as well. You can mark books as to read, or you can mark books on your shelf as read. So it's a great way to keep track of your reading. All right, now let's look at some more specific recommendations on what to read, what kind of books you should read. So I recommend Cambridge and Oxford have a series of books called Cambridge Readers and Oxford Readers. And what's great about them is that they're available in all different levels, from beginners to advanced. So if you want to read a classic like Pride and Prejudice or Jane Eyre, but you don't quite have an advanced level yet, you can read their adapted version in beginners, intermediate level, etc. So this features vocabulary that's suitable for your level. So this is a great tool to start reading something in English. Project Gutenberg is an online resource that has over 53,000 free ebooks, so you can download them, read them. And check this out. These are public domain, which means that they are free and free to download, free to share. So this is a really good way to find some free books to read. Okay, as I said before, read classics, but find a version that's adapted to your level. Also, kids' books, children's books can be a really good starter for you. If you're a beginner, choose a children's book. They're shorter, but they have vocabulary that's suitable for your level. So try to find a children's book that's interesting for you and start with them. Okay, at ABBA we have a blog called ABBA Journal. You can find articles about lifestyle, travel, business English, so it's a great resource if you want to read something short and improve your English in the meantime. There's lots of tips and useful articles you can find. If you haven't checked out our ABBA Journal yet, you can do so. Lots of good material. Okay, now that we've talked about some vocabulary and my recommendations, I want to ask you a few questions and then we'll see who's joining us and I'll give you my feedback. So, question number 1. How often do you read? How often? Is it every day? A few times a week? Do you not read very often? Tell me in the comments, how often do you read? And what is your favorite book genre? So we've talked about quite a few: fiction, science